When an animal loves me, its devotion is unwavering, pure, eternal, and without conditions. But what happens when that love is suddenly cut short by death? Is it truly the end, or is there something far greater beyond this life? I've searched for answers, and what I've uncovered is nothing short of extraordinary. The Bible holds profound wisdom on this, and today I will share something that may forever change the way you see life after death. This isn't just a story, it's a revelation, one that has remained hidden for far too long. Before we begin, take a moment to support this journey. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from, because no matter where we are connected as one Heaven's Gate family. Subscribe, leave a like, and open your heart. What you're about to discover may redefine the way you cherish the animals you've loved and lost. My name is Louise. I'm 55 years old, and I live in Holland, Michigan. 2 years ago, my world shattered in an instant. My wife, Aurora, the love of my life, was taken from me by an aggressive cancer that showed no mercy. There was no warning, no time to hope, no space for denial. One moment, we were together, dreaming of the years ahead. The next, I was left alone in a silence so heavy it was unbearable. Life lost all color. I drifted through my days without purpose, staring blankly at the TV, numbing myself with shows I didn't care about. The only time I stepped outside was for groceries, just enough to survive. I had lost my mother to cancer years before, and though it took time, I managed to heal. But this was different. This was Aurora, my soulmate, my best friend, the heart of our home. She had a way of making everything special, filling our days with warmth, love, and the incredible meals she cooked with so much care. Without her, the house felt cold, empty, a place I no longer recognized, and I knew deep down that nothing would ever be the same again. Then, one ordinary afternoon, everything changed. It was bitterly cold, and I was trudging home from yet another grocery run, just another routine in my empty life. But as I passed by a dumpster, a faint, desperate whimper made me stop. At first, I saw nothing but an old, discarded cardboard box. But then, as I stepped closer, I saw it, huddled inside, barely moving. A tiny puppy. It was skin and bones, shivering violently, its dull eyes clouded by hunger and cold. I looked around, expecting someone, anyone, to come rushing back for it. But there was no one. Someone had abandoned it, left it there to die alone. I had never been particularly fond of animals. I had never wanted a pet. But in that moment, something in me refused to walk away. Before I could even process what I was doing, I had already scooped the little thing into my arms, wrapping it in my jacket. I told myself it was temporary. I'd take it home, feed it, let it recover, and then find it a shelter. That was the plan. But reality had other ideas. The puppy was nothing like the quiet, grateful companion I had imagined. It was wild, chaotic, a tiny, relentless force of destruction. It knocked things over, tore through the house, and ignored every attempt at discipline. I was already drowning in grief, and now it felt like I was drowning in chaos too. Every day, my frustration grew. I saw it as just another burden, one more weight pressing down on me in a life that already felt unbearable. At least that's what I thought at first. I had no idea how much this tiny creature was about to change everything. My house, once a place of deafening silence, now pulsed with an energy I hadn't felt in years. The once quiet rooms echoed with frantic paws against the floor, sharp barks, and the sound of yet another object crashing to the ground. Every ignored command, every act of mischief only added to my frustration. I had brought this tiny creature home out of pity, but now it felt like I had invited chaos itself into my life. And yet, something about it felt different. This puppy wasn't just a nuisance. It was relentless, almost as if it had a purpose. Its eyes held something I couldn't quite place, a determination, a silent message I wasn't ready to understand. It didn't just want food or shelter. It wanted me, my attention, my presence. And despite my irritation, I found myself watching it more closely. As the weeks passed and it grew stronger, something inside me shifted. Day by day, its frail body filled out. Its gaze sharpened. Its energy became unstoppable. And somehow that life, that sheer force of will, began to chip away at the walls I had built around my grief. It was as if this small creature was slowly prying open a door I had locked for good. The pain that had consumed me for so long no longer felt as suffocating. That's when I knew. I couldn't just call it dog or puppy. It needed a name, one that carried weight, because by then I understood that its presence meant something much greater. I named him Noah. Like the biblical figure who braved the storm, carrying life forward through destruction, this tiny being had unknowingly become my ark. And without even realizing it, I was beginning to find my way through my own personal flood. Just as life was beginning to feel meaningful again, just as I was relearning the quiet joys of existence, everything changed in an instant. A single moment, a fraction of a second, and the world as I knew it was shattered. It was the kind of day that made you believe in second chances. The sky stretched wide and blue, the sun warm but not overbearing. A soft breeze rustled the trees, carrying with it the scent of earth and pavement warmed by the afternoon light. Noah trotted beside me, his tail wagging, his energy boundless. We walked together, step by step, as if we had all the time in the world. I had no idea we were walking straight into a nightmare. We reached a crosswalk. I stopped, waiting as a car slowed to let us pass. A habit ingrained in me, I glanced both ways before stepping forward. Noah, eager as always, moved just ahead of me. Then, out of nowhere, chaos. The sudden roar of engines shattered the peace like a violent crack in reality. Two cars surged forward from behind the stopped vehicle, their engines snarling as they raced down the street. They weren't just driving fast. They were out of control, reckless, indifferent to everything in their path, including us. Time warped. My breath hitched. My heartbeat slammed against my ribs. I saw the glare of headlights bearing down on us, too fast, too close. "Noah!" I yanked the leash, my instincts screaming at me to pull him back. But it was too late. The impact was brutal. Noah was struck full force, his small body flung into the air. The leash in my hands snapped with such violent force that it sent me flying, my body weightless for an endless second before crashing back down. My head hit the pavement, hard. Then, nothing, no sound, no light, just darkness, deep, absolute and consuming. I drifted in a vast, endless darkness, weightless, suspended between existence and oblivion. There was no pain, no fear, only an eerie stillness, as if I had been unmoored from time itself. For a moment I wondered if this was the end. Then a light. It didn't burst forth or blind me. It started as a soft glow, radiating from somewhere deep within, like embers stirring back to life. The warmth spread through me, gentle and reassuring, filling the empty void with something I hadn't felt in what seemed like an eternity. Peace. And then I saw him. Before me stood a figure of breathtaking radiance, enveloped in an aura of love so profound I felt it before I even fully registered his form. Jesus. His presence was unlike anything I had ever known, calm, compassionate, eternal. His eyes, filled with infinite understanding, met mine, and in that instant, the weight of my grief, my loneliness, and my suffering seemed to dissolve. He spoke my name, his voice neither loud nor forceful, yet it resonated through me like a melody that had always existed in my soul, waiting to be heard. "Lewis," he said gently, an embrace woven into his very words. "Do not fear. You are here for a reason far greater than you can imagine." And just like that, all fear vanished. A wave of tranquility washed over me, erasing the ache I had carried for so long. It was as if the burdens I had clung to, the loss, the sorrow, the emptiness, had never existed. In that moment, I was simply whole. Then his gaze deepened, reaching into me, unearthing parts of my soul I had long forgotten. "There is something you must know," he continued, his voice steady and knowing. "Something that concerns both you and Noah." Noah. A shiver ran through me at the sound of his name. In an instant, my mind reeled back to the moment I had found him, frail, trembling, abandoned in that cardboard box. He had been barely clinging to life, left to suffer alone, just as I had been. I had seen his pain reflected in my own, though I hadn't understood it then. Jesus nodded, as if he had heard my very thoughts. "Noah was sent to you," he said, his words carrying a weight that settled deep in my chest. "That day when you found him, it was no coincidence." A lump formed in my throat as I let his words sink in. I had always believed I had rescued Noah. But had it been the other way around all along? Jesus extended his hand in a gentle gesture, as if guiding me toward understanding. "You and Noah are two wounded souls who found each other," he said. "His suffering was yours. His loneliness was yours. But you chose one another. You saved each other." A realization, profound and undeniable, settled over me. Noah had not been just a pet. He had been my mirror, my companion, my guide. A soul as broken as mine, placed in my path not by chance, but by divine design. I had thought I was alone in my pain. But I never truly was. And I never would be again. A wave of indescribable emotion washed over me. It was true, Noah hadn't just been a dog I rescued. In some unexplainable way, he had rescued me too. Jesus' voice, calm yet powerful, broke through my thoughts. "Have you ever considered, Louis, that Noah understood you?" His words stirred something deep inside me. Had he? My mind raced back through the countless nights I had spent in silence, staring at the empty space where Aurora used to be. How many times had I spoken to Noah, whispering my pain into the quiet? How many nights, when the grief became unbearable, had I turned my head to find him watching me? His eyes filled with something that felt so much like understanding. And how many times, without making a sound, had he simply rested his head on my hands, as if to say, "I'm here." Could he truly have understood? Jesus smiled knowingly. "The bond you share with Noah is far greater than you realize. It is not merely the affection between a man and his dog. It is a connection between two souls, kindred spirits who found each other in the darkest of times." Tears welled in my eyes and spilled freely down my face. "Lord, I never saw animals this way," I confessed, my voice barely more than a whisper. "I thought they were just creatures we grew fond of, nothing more." Jesus shook his head gently. "Animals are far more than that, Louis. They are a gift from God, messengers of love and healing. When a person is lost, when their heart is too burdened by pain, God often sends them a companion. Sometimes it's not another human being. Sometimes it's a creature who asks for nothing but love and gives back more than we could ever understand. I closed my eyes, absorbing his words, feeling them settle deep within me, like truth I had always known, but never put into words. Noah had been sent to me. He was chosen for me. It wasn't an accident. He wasn't just an abandoned dog I happened to find. He was my guide, my silent comfort, my saving grace. I opened my eyes, looking at Jesus, my heart full of questions. But Lord, why? My voice trembled. Why do animals seem to understand human suffering better than people do? Jesus looked at me with deep, unwavering intensity. Listen carefully, Lewis, he said. Animals do not have a soul like humans. They do not bear the weight of sin, nor do they choose between good and evil. But they do have a spirit, a divine spark of life that comes from God himself. And nothing that comes from God is ever truly lost. A shiver ran through me, but it wasn't fear, it was awe. In that moment I understood. Noah had been more than a dog. He had been a blessing, a living, breathing reminder that love in its purest form is never wasted. It finds us, even in our darkest moments. And even when we don't realize it, sometimes love saves us. A tremor ran through me as I clung to the question forming in my heart. Lord, does this mean I will see Noah again? That he will have a place in your kingdom? Jesus nodded, his eyes filled with a quiet certainty. Is it not written, he said, his voice steady, that the creation itself eagerly awaits the revealing of the children of God? For the creation was subjected to futility, not by its own choice, but by the will of the one who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be set free from its bondage to decay and brought into the glorious freedom of the children of God. Romans 8:19-21. I let his words settle within me. Could it be? Would animals too be redeemed in the fullness of time? When everything is fulfilled and sin is no more, creation will be restored, Jesus continued. Nothing created in love is ever lost. In my kingdom, every living being will have its place, and animals will no longer suffer. They will be as they were always meant to be, free. And then he lifted his hand, and before my eyes, a vision unfolded. I saw a land unlike anything on earth, a place of light, untouched by sorrow. The air shimmered with purity, rivers flowed with crystalline clarity, and vast meadows stretched beyond sight. Animals of every kind roamed freely, not as prey and predator, but as companions. Wolves and lambs rested side by side, lions lay peacefully beside children, and wild horses galloped across golden fields, their manes flowing in the eternal breeze. And then I saw him, Noah, strong and full of life, his body whole, his spirit radiant. His eyes, those same eyes that had once met mine in the depths of my sorrow, now sparkled with joy, unburdened by pain, and he was looking for me, waiting for me. Jesus turned to me with a gentle smile. Noah will be there, Lewis, just as all those who have loved with a pure heart. The love you shared was not in vain, it was sacred, and love that is true is never lost. Tears spilled down my face, a rush of emotions too great to contain. Lord, does this mean that every animal we have loved will return to us? I asked, my voice trembling. Jesus nodded softly. Not all animals share a deep bond with humans. Some remain simply as part of the earth, fulfilling their purpose in creation. But those who have walked beside you, who have loved you, and whom you have loved, they will be there. for love is never wasted. I collapsed to my knees, overwhelmed. This bond, this love I had thought was temporary, was never meant to end. It was eternal, woven into the very fabric of God's creation. And then the light around me began to shift. I felt a pull, a gentle but firm force drawing me back. The vision blurred, reality creeping in at the edges. The world I had left behind was calling me back. As the glow faded, Jesus spoke one last time. "When you return, tell others what you have seen." The world has forgotten the value of God's creatures. Remind them that every life is precious and every bond of love is a sacred gift. And with those words I was falling, back into my body, back into the world I had known before. But I was not the same. I had seen the truth, and I would never forget it. The last thing I saw before everything faded was Noah, injured, struggling, but alive. Then I woke up. When my eyes finally fluttered open, the world around me was blurred, as if reality itself had been shaken. My body ached, a dull, relentless pain spreading through me, but none of it mattered. I turned my head, searching, hoping. Where was Noah? Then I saw him, lying motionless on the cold asphalt, his breath shallow, his fur matted with blood. He was barely hanging on, his body battered and broken. And yet, in his eyes, there was still a spark, a quiet, unyielding resistance, a will to keep fighting. My heart clenched painfully. "Lord, why?" My voice trembled, though I wasn't sure if I spoke the words aloud or if they were only in my heart. Noah has suffered so much already. He was abandoned. He knew loneliness. And now this. Why must he endure so much pain? Beside me I felt a presence, warm, steady, filled with understanding. Jesus stood there, his gaze filled with infinite compassion. "Lewis," he said gently, "the suffering of animals is a reflection of the suffering in this fallen world. When sin entered creation, pain followed. Death, cruelty, sorrow. None of this was my Father's original plan." Then, as if lifting a veil, he showed me a vision. I saw Eden, untouched, before the weight of sin tainted the earth. A paradise where animals roamed freely, side by side, in harmony with one another and with humankind. There was no fear, no struggle to survive, no death. This, Jesus continued, was how it was meant to be. Animals were never created to suffer, nor to be mistreated. They were part of God's perfect design, and in my kingdom they will once again reflect that perfection. I looked back at Noah, his body trembling, his heart still beating despite the devastation he had endured. "Will he recover?" I asked, barely able to voice the words. Jesus placed a comforting hand on my shoulder. "He has suffered a great blow, but his time is not yet over. It will take months of care and patience, but Noah will rise again, and your bond will be stronger than ever." A lump formed in my throat, and when his time does come, when he finally leaves this world, will I see him again? Jesus held my gaze, his voice deep and steady. "Lewis, listen carefully. Animals do not have a soul in the same way humans do. They do not carry the burden of sin, nor do they choose between good and evil. But they do have a spirit, a divine spark of life given by God. And nothing that comes from God is ever lost." His words settled deep within me, unlocking a truth I had never dared to hope for. "You mean I will see him again?" Jesus nodded. "Is it not written? For the creation itself waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. For the creation was subjected to frustration, not by its own choice, but by the will of the one who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be liberated from its bondage to decay and brought into the freedom and glory of the children of God. Romans 8:19-21. I paused, my thoughts racing. Then, does this mean even animals will be redeemed? Jesus smiled. When all is fulfilled and sin is no more, creation will be restored. Nothing that has been created in love will be lost. In my kingdom, every living being will have its place, and animals will no longer suffer. As he spoke, another vision unfolded before me. I saw a breathtaking land, untouched, perfect, eternal. The sky stretched endlessly, the rivers ran pure, their waters glistening like liquid crystal. Vast meadows stretched beyond sight, golden with sunlight, and across them animals of every kind roamed free, unafraid. Wolves and lambs rested together. Lions lay peacefully beside children. Horses galloped through endless fields, their hooves barely disturbing the golden earth beneath them. And then, among them, I saw him. Noah. He was strong and full of life, his body healed, his energy radiant. His eyes, those same eyes that had once met mine in the depths of my grief, now shone with pure, unburdened joy. He was searching for me, waiting for me. Jesus turned to me, his expression filled with love. Noah will be there, Louis, just as all those who have loved and served with a pure heart. The love you shared was not in vain, it was sacred, and love that is true is never lost. Tears streamed down my face. Lord, does that mean every animal we have loved will return to us? Jesus nodded. Not all animals form a deep bond with humans. Some remain as part of the earth, fulfilling their purpose in creation. But those who have walked beside you, who have loved you, and whom you have loved, they will be there. For love is never wasted. I collapsed under the weight of the revelation, overwhelmed with gratitude, with understanding. So, our bond will never be broken. Never, Jesus said. The love that comes from God is eternal. Then the light around me began to fade. I felt a pull, drawing me back, the real world creeping in, growing clearer with each breath. Just before everything disappeared, Jesus spoke once more. When you return, share what you have seen. The world has forgotten the value of God's creatures. Remind them that every life is precious and that every bond of love is a sacred gift. And then I woke up. The days following the accident blurred into a haze of pain, fear, and waiting. I lay in a hospital bed, my body broken, my mind elsewhere. But no matter how much I ached, my heart was consumed by only one question. Would Noah make it? The veterinarians were uncertain. The impact had been devastating, his injuries critical. Day after day he lay motionless, his fate hanging in the balance. Each night I prayed with everything in me. God, you sent him to save me. Please, do not take him away. Days stretched into weeks. Hope wavered. But then, one morning as I sat beside him, exhausted, my head bowed in silent tears, I felt something. A shift, a slight movement. Then, a breath, deeper than before. And slowly, Noah opened his eyes. His gaze searched for me, dim but present. And in that moment, as our eyes met, something surged through me. A force stronger than pain, stronger than fear. He was still here. The doctor told me his recovery would be long and difficult. But to me, it was already a miracle. You did it, Noah, I whispered, my voice breaking. We made it. And I realized then, his battle was my battle. His pain was mine. And just as we had suffered together, we would heal together. Months passed. Noah fought his way back to life, step by step, day by day. He was never quite the same. His body carried the scars of that terrible night. But his spirit remained unshaken. If anything, it burned even brighter, for time moves for us all. But love, true love, never fades. And some bonds, forged in pain, strengthened by faith, and sealed by the hands of God Himself, are never broken. A few months ago, I faced the moment I had dreaded for years. The final test of love, the one I knew was inevitable, yet had desperately hoped to delay. Noah had grown old. His steps had slowed, his once bright eyes carried the weight of time, and his body, though still strong in spirit, had begun to surrender to age. And yet, he never left my side. He followed me everywhere, his presence as steady as ever, as if he knew I needed him just as much now as I did when we first found each other. Then, one morning, as I guided him outside for his therapy, it happened. Noah stopped. He turned to look at me, his gaze deep and knowing. Then, with immense effort, he wagged his tail, just once, and took a few steps forward on his own. I dropped to my knees, tears spilling down my face. "Hey, my friend, I'm here." He held my gaze, and in that moment I saw everything: love, gratitude, the sorrow of farewell, but also something unexpected. Peace. He wasn't afraid. He knew his time had come. I cradled his face gently. "I love you, Noah. Thank you for everything." With one final flicker of strength, he barely moved his tail, as if to tell me he loved me too, that he was ready. Then, slowly, he closed his eyes. His body softened in my arms. His breath faded into silence, and I knew he was gone. I don't know how long I stayed there, kneeling, my face buried in his fur, my tears soaking into his coat. The weight of loss crashed over me like a tidal wave, pulling me under, robbing me of air. The pain was unbearable. But as I held him, I remembered what I had seen, what I had been promised. This was not the end. Noah's journey wasn't over. His love, his spirit, the unbreakable bond we shared, it would endure beyond this moment, beyond time itself. And one day, in a place where pain no longer exists, I would see him again. Was it really over? God had sent Noah to me when I was at my lowest, when life had become a shadow of what it once was. He had been my light in the darkness, my silent protector, my constant companion. He had saved me when I no longer had the will to save myself. And now, just like that, he was gone. I held him close, one last time, pressing my forehead against his soft fur. My voice broke as I whispered, "Thank you, Noah. Thank you for loving me more than I ever deserved." The pain was unbearable, a grief so deep it seemed to consume every part of me. But then I remembered the words Jesus had spoken to me. "In my kingdom, nothing that you have loved will be lost." I closed my eyes and let those words settle in my heart. And in that moment, amid the sorrow, I felt something unexpected. A quiet, abiding peace. Noah was not truly gone. He never would be. Even now, every morning when I wake up, his spot beside my bed remains empty, but his spirit is everywhere. In the quiet moments, I still feel his presence beside me. In my heart, I carry every memory, every lesson, every ounce of love he gave. And in the deepest part of my soul, I hold on to the certainty that one day, when my time comes, I will see him again. We will run together, without fear, without pain, forever. But after everything I have experienced, after seeing the truth with my own eyes, I know one thing for certain: I can no longer remain silent. This message was not meant for me alone. It is for anyone who has ever suffered, who has ever loved and lost. For those who have met the gaze of an animal and found in it comfort, hope, and the purest form of love. Jesus showed me that animals are not mere travel companions. They are not here by accident. They are not just accessories in our lives to be taken for granted. They are divine gifts, messengers sent by God to guide us, comfort us, and sustain us through our darkest moments. Noah was not just a dog. He was a sign from God. And the truth is, God sends these signs to many of us. But how many truly recognize them? How many understand that the faithful eyes staring back at us each day do not belong to mere earthly creatures, but to living testimonies of divine love? How many times do we overlook the value of a quiet presence, a gentle touch, a wagging tail, or the warmth of a being that loves us without condition? How often do we fail to see that right there beside us is the very sign we've been searching for? When I found Noah, I thought I was saving him. In reality, he was saving me. God knew I needed him just as much as he needed me. Noah had been abandoned, left behind, cast aside by the world, just as I had felt after losing Aurora. Our sufferings intertwined, and without even realizing it, we became each other's strength. It was not chance. It was not coincidence. It was God's design. Animals are not objects. They are not possessions to be discarded when they no longer serve a purpose. They are precious lives, entrusted to us to be loved, respected, and protected. The Bible makes it clear, God watches over them just as He watches over us. He cares for every creature, even the smallest among them, because every life has value. So how can we ignore their suffering? How can we allow ourselves to mistreat them, abandon them, or turn away from their pain? Every time an animal suffers due to human cruelty, it is as if a part of creation itself is being desecrated. But every time we welcome them, care for them, and offer them love, we are answering a divine call. If you have an animal in your life that loves you, that waits for you to come home, that follows you wherever you go, don't take it for granted. It is not just a companion. It is a sign, a way for God to remind you that you are not alone. And if you don't have an animal by your side, if you feel an emptiness inside, do not despair. Perhaps your sign has yet to arrive. Perhaps there is a soul out there waiting for you, just as Noah was waiting for me. Perhaps there is a creature who needs you as much as you need them. My journey has taught me something profound. When a person faces their darkest hour, yet holds on to their faith, heaven responds. A seal of hope is sent. A pure soul chosen by God to walk beside them, to lift them up, to remind them that they are never truly alone. I didn't know that Noah was my sign until I looked back and saw the path God had laid before us. Perhaps there has been a Noah in your life too. Perhaps there is one with you now, or perhaps one is yet to come. But whatever you do, don't ignore the signs. Don't underestimate the value of a silent love, a constant presence, a bond that speaks louder than words ever could. Because sometimes, the love we need most comes in a form we never expected. Jesus revealed to me a truth so profound that it changed the way I see life, death, and love itself. In His kingdom, nothing that has been truly loved is ever lost. The time we spend with them, their companionship, their loyalty, the love they give so freely, is never in vain. Noah may have left this world, but our bond did not end with his final breath. I know with all my heart that one day, when my journey here is complete and God calls me home, He will be there, waiting for me. And this time, we will run together without fear, without pain, without the weight of time pulling us apart. If there is one message I wish to leave behind in this life, it is this. Animals are a sacred gift from God. They are entrusted to us, not just for companionship, but as reflections of divine love. They teach us loyalty, kindness, and the purest form of selfless devotion. They walk beside us in our hardest moments, loving us when we feel unworthy, staying by our side when the world turns away. Let us not take this gift for granted. Let us not overlook the chance to be for them what they're for us, a reflection of God's love on earth. If you've made it this far, it means your heart is open, filled with love and understanding. Let me know in the comments by writing Amen or sharing the country you are listening from. If you believe in the power of love and the words of the Lord, share this message with your friends and family. The world needs to know the truth, that animals are not here by accident. They are sent to us for a reason. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and join this journey of faith and love.